Cowabunga Bay and backyards of America in Sandy.
Troy, do you think it's safe to say the S word out loud yet?
Probably not on the radio, right?
Right. Smart. I just can't wait to be completely covered by the warmth of it again, you know?
Not sure I do.
Sure you do. We've all felt that magical feeling of your first trip in it.
Your what?
I just miss that strong, fresh, natural aroma of spring.
That's the S word you're worried about?
I don't want to jinx it. Winter is listening.
Well, luckily, early spring camping is one of the best things about RVs. That's why Bish's RV is going all in on early spring deals now during our spring camping sale.
Oh yeah! Kick off your camping season early with pricing starting under $149 per month on approved credit.
Clearance pricing on remaining new 2023s and 90 days of all play, no pay OAC. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year Bish Fix membership, your fast-tracked RV service repairs.
Shop the best deals now at Bishes.com/RV search.
Only for a limited time and only at Bish's RV in Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Offer OAC based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 80977. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Hello, I'm Case Lawrence, and I'm running for Congress. Our skyrocketing national debt is the greatest risk to the American dream. We can fix America's debt crisis, but not with politicians who are more worried about their next election than America's next generation. I'm not a politician. I'm a problem solver. I hope you'll join me. I'm Case Lawrence, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Case for Congress.
Experience a different tomorrow with Norwegian Cruise Line. Book today and get 50% off your cruise to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gon' start today.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We still have a little bit of brake light showing up northbound I-15 as you come out of Utah County, make your way between Bluffdale and Draper. That's due to a crash that's now over to the left shoulder. And a crash in the cleanup stages still affecting westbound and northbound traffic in Taylorsville. That is at the intersection of 5400 South, 4015 West, but it's in the final cleanup stages. Spend time with the ones you love in the most unique dining experiences in Utah. Five All's Restaurant, 5 stars, 5 courses, full of history and tradition. Open Wednesday through Saturday. Visit 5alls.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
And it's going to be a hot day here in Salt Lake City. Highs will get into the upper 70s with some light winds to help us cool down. Tomorrow will be much of the same. Right now it is partly cloudy and 59 degrees. I'm Alexandria Bonilla from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
New year, new KSL movie show. Now you can listen when you're running errands at lunch. This is Andy Farnsworth, and I'm joined by Steve Sales for all the week's biggest movies and shows, 11 to 1 on KSL News Radio.
It's finally Friday, and this is Dave and Dujanovic. Conversation and insights on the stories Utahns care about most. It's Friday on KSL News Radio.
And the sun is up, and the Dow is down. Way down. You just heard our news team reporting that it's down more than 300 points this morning. We're keeping a close eye on that. And Dave, you just told me it's still the fallout from the scary inflation numbers.
We just can't get rid of the inflation. It just keeps hanging on. It is so sticky. Remember, just a couple weeks ago, we were almost at 40,000. Right now, it's down to 38. 38 is still good, but it's not 40. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Well, we know President Biden has spent much of his presidency trying to address the issue of climate change, moving away from fossil fuels, stopping pipelines and drilling, and promoting EVs. In fact, my co-host bought an EV. He was so convinced by President Biden's pitch, he ran out and he bought himself an EV. There's a new Wall Street Journal poll that says just 3% of voters call climate change their top issue. Obviously, Dave, you're in the 3%.
I tell you, Deb, I guess
you
I am.
walked right into that one.
When I say that I'm the
He's
reluctant tree
into
hugger.
Biden's EV policies.
Thanks, President. I appreciate it. I love my EV. Save the earth. No, I think the reason it's not the top issue anymore is because financially we are struggling so much because of inflation. We were just talking about that. The cost of living, the cost of housing. When those things are forefront, climate change for me, it doesn't even register, and it doesn't seem like I'm alone.
Countdown to
The movement to keep kids safe from too much sodium. You didn't know there was such a movement, but there is. Has its sights set on Lunchables. That's right, Lunchables. Ban them from schools, they say. At least from being served at school lunch. Doesn't mean you can't send your kid to school with one. But, every parent, Dave, you're familiar with the Lunchable, right? The quad little plastic tray stuffed with those circular pieces of processed turkey, a little bit of cheese, a couple crackers, and some cookies. Well, now Consumer Reports, that's right, the watchdog group petitioning the government to get rid of them from the school lunch line.
That's nearly 30 million children that may be served lunch kits that have these contaminants and very high sodium levels. We think our kids deserve better choices, and these Lunchable kits should be removed from the school lunch program.
There are healthy choices. There absolutely are healthy choices. It's not like Lunchables are the only thing that's available for kids, but my wife has worked in these cafeterias, and she has seen kids take entire trays full of healthy food and dump them in the garbage. It doesn't matter how healthy the food is that you serve if the kids won't stick it in their mouth.
launch countdown 1.
A new school safety law kicking in across Utah requiring panic buttons be added to Utah classrooms in case something goes wrong in the school and the teacher needs to call for help. At least one armed guard per school. And then there's this. I didn't realize this new law requires the ballistics glass film on the first level of schools. So the Granite School District says this costs about $25 a square foot. Here's what the Granite District told KSL5 Television's Daniel Woodruff about this.
This Granite School District has 87 buildings, so all of those first floor windows must be covered in ballistics glass film that starts about $25 a square foot.
Starts at $25 a square foot. First of all, I didn't know ballistics glass film was even a thing. How does this work? But it does sound that it is extremely expensive.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Let's talk about this new law that was signed by Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson this week. It's now a law. It is pricey, but parents who lost two children in a mass shooting in Florida came to Utah for this moment to see this signing happen. And it's really hard to say that, they're not right. I mean, because they're living the horror.
What Utah's done proactively means everything to protecting schools.
One thing that I've realized, and we've done so many of these heartbreaking stories about school shootings, I can't say I remember one time where the school shooter is attacking from the outside in. They usually break into the school and start attacking. So the idea of protecting, putting bulletproof film on the outside part of the glass is not something that we have seen.
Okay, let's talk about what this law is. It's huge. It's now signed. School districts are going to have to start complying. But let's boil it down to the three aspects of it that stood out most, I think, to both of us. Armed guards in each school. We've talked a lot about this. It can be a police officer, it can be a security guard, or it might be a school employee who signs up to be a guardian who is armed. So that is going to be something your kids are going to start seeing in schools. If they don't have a police officer in their school right now, they may see a police officer. They may see a security guard. So that's part of this legislation, Dave.
I'm trying to remember when it comes to the guardians, which is the school employee that may be able to do some training, carry a gun. Are they identified? Does everyone know who that employee is?
That's a great question. We're going to have to ask the bill sponsor when we get a chance to talk to them if they have to wear some sort of like a uniform or a badge to identify them. There's also this aspect of the legislation where there's a silent panic button that has to be installed in each classroom for teachers. KSL5 Television's Daniel Woodruff joined KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas on KSL at Night last night, and I was listening to them. This was just an absolutely fascinating conversation, and Daniel really brought all of the information about the panic button. And in a moment, we'll talk about that ballistic, film on Windows, too.
It requires that teachers have access to panic buttons, that if there was an emergency like an active shooting or even something like a medical emergency in the classroom, that they could press it and it would go directly to law enforcement, who could then respond much faster, so they could just in the moment push the button as opposed to having to make a call and describe what's going on in the classroom.
Almost like a push button 911.
That's interesting. I haven't heard of that because I don't feel like 911 is overly difficult to use, but this is basically the big red button. You push it and it goes directly and alerts.
Yeah,
and
law
maybe,
enforcement. Yeah. It goes right to the source, so there can be a full-on response when the panic button is pushed.
It's the bat phone.
Straight ahead, let's talk about this film, this ballistic film that is going to be required to go over school windows, and how much is this totally going to cost Utah taxpayers? We'll get into that as well.
This Granite School District has 87 buildings, so all of those first floor windows must be covered in ballistics glass film that starts about $25 a square foot.
Finally, Friday. With Dave and Dujanovic.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items like the self-leveling green laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect Pass-Through Socket Set for $49.98, which you can only find at Lowe's. Shop Klein tools in-store and online today, because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
Want to know what is grinding things to a halt in Congress?
We have to face reality right now.
You should have been listening to Inside Sources and Boyd Matheson's interview with Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
We literally are operating right now with the smallest majority in the history of the Congress. When it came to funding the government, we either get the best possible product we can, or we just shut the government down.
For first-hand information from Inside Sources, listen each day. Boyd Matheson from 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. It's been a great several months engaging with Utahns across the 1st District at in-person town halls, community events, facility tours, schools, and much more. I love the opportunity to meet with you and hear your concerns and priorities. I've also enjoyed hosting regular telephone town halls this year, and I'm looking forward to our next one on April 17th at 12:30 p.m. We will discuss everything from federal budgeting reform to the crisis at the southern border, from national security policy to public lands issues. Dial in at 833-305-1678 on Wednesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. That's 833-305-1678 on Wednesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. I'd love for you to call in and ask a question. Due to U.S. law, I will be unable to communicate with constituents 60 days leading up to the primary election unless you are subscribed to our weekly e-newsletter or follow us on social media. Please be sure to sign up for our e-newsletter at blakemore.house.gov and follow along on socials at Rep Blakemore. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. Over the years, I have seen a lot of down payment assistance programs. Most of them just aren't practical for one reason or another, but we have one now that is pretty solid. This program is for first-time home buyers or some buyers who have been out of the market for several years. It includes a gift of up to $4,000 to help with the down payment. Given that this program only calls for a 3% down payment in the first place, this gift can be a real game changer. Some restrictions apply. One restriction is that the household income cannot be over a certain amount, which for most areas along the Wasatch Front is around $85,000 annual income. Call us today if you want to take a look. Fink & McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
In the history of the world, nobody has ever said, "Yay, we need a new roof." But when things aren't quite right up there, don't wait. Call IWC Roofing, the highest rated roofing contractor in Utah. IWC has been in business since 1997, and they offer the best value pricing in Utah, along with the best warranty in the business. They're one of the few Owens Corning Platinum certified roofers in the entire state. They have their own installers, no subcontractors crawling around on your roof. And at IWC Roofing, they'll send you pictures from up on the roof to show that you're getting exactly what you paid for. In most cases, they'll re-roof your home in one day. They'll clean up and pressure wash your driveway. IWC roofs more homes than any other company in Utah, so they can offer you a better price. And right now, an extra $1,500 off your new roof. Call IWC Roofing for a no-pressure quote, 801-232-5690. Call 801-232-5690 or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
The best kept secret is this is the pass. It's a pass for fun for everyone. Now through April 30th, save $20 off every annual pass level. 362 days of fun. Visit thisisthepass.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, it's official. BYU men's basketball head coach Mark Pope will leave the Cougars to become the new head coach of Kentucky's basketball team. Second, controversial Utah State Board of Education member Natalie Klein faces a make-or-break vote tomorrow at the Salt Lake County Republican Convention. And third, the visiting International Olympic Committee members will visit Ogden today. We're going to look for a high today of 79 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, it is 60. As we get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
There's no arguing that the life of a child is priceless. Turns out protecting them from evil, should evil walk into the school, it is pricey. Dave and I talking about a new school safety law for Utah, signed into law this week. Requires each school have a guard, whether that's a police officer, a security guard, or a guardian. It's a school employee who is, packing a gun. Then they've got the aspect of the silent panic buttons in the classroom, so teachers can just push a button and it goes, like you said, the bat button, the bat phone that goes right to the police department. And this is the one aspect of the law that I didn't realize until I was listening to KSL 5 Television's Daniel Woodruff talk to Greg Skordas on KSL at Night last night. $25 a square foot ballistic film on first-story windows. And Daniel talked to Ben Horsley with the Granite School District, and here's what he told him.
This Granite School District has 87 buildings, so all of those first-floor windows must be covered in ballistics glass film that starts about $25 a square foot.
So, Debbie, I was just looking. We're on the first floor. We have windows that are facing outside, and they are actually bulletproof glass that we have here at KSL. But I was just doing some quick calculations. We have about 80 square feet of windows just in this small little room. This room's maybe 15, 20 feet wide. It would cost almost $2,000 to put this film just on our small little section in the studio. Now, we have hundreds of feet of windows just here at our place of business. This is exactly what the schools are dealing with. They have thousands of square feet, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of square feet of windows on just the first floor. This is going to cost millions.
Yeah. And again, what's the cost of a price, child is priceless. So I understand that we want to protect our kids. I'm just having a hard time getting my head wrapped around how we're going to afford $25 per square foot. I hope they get a bulk deal on this. So Greg and Daniel on KSL at Night last night really dove into the concern about the money aspect of it as well. And the school districts have some concerns about this. So I looked at the fiscal note on this legislation that was signed this year, passed this year by Utah lawmakers. It looks to me to be around, for this coming school year and the next, about $10 million from the state. Now, we're hoping to speak to the lawmaker, Ryan Wilcox. He was a driver behind this legislation. He was all in on this. He did a great job getting this through the legislature. But I need to confirm with him that number, because I'm looking at this list of numbers here, and it looks to me to be $10 million from the state coffers. School districts are saying that's not enough.
No.
That's not going to be nearly enough. Here's Greg and Daniel last night talking about the money aspect of this on KSL at Night.
And he particularly was critical of the legislature, which did provide money. And you can go look on the bill at a number of categories that help fund this. But basically, Granite School District said, in a nutshell, the legislature did not provide enough money by a long shot. And unless they pony up more money, the Granite School District, as an example, may have to go look at raising taxes to pay for all of the requirements in the bill. You talk about armed guards.
Right.
He said that's millions of dollars alone
Sure, it's gotta be.
on an ongoing basis, not satisfied
Not a
with
one-time
one-time money,
appropriation, right.
because you've got to hire people to do that.
That's a great point. So this bulletproof glass film that they would put on, that is a one-time cost. Once that is installed, it stays there. So as opposed to guards or guardians, whatever it might be, which every single year you've got to account for, this would be a one-time cost or a one-time investment.
Yeah. The legislature even acknowledged on the fiscal note, Dave, that they say in the aggregate this could cost local education agencies, which are our districts, $20 million in 2025. A couple more million ongoing. So it's basically that's coming from taxpayers. And I think we really have to think, what is safety worth? And our kids are our most precious resource. And we know from the agony that so many parents across this country have gone through that we never want it to be our child. And we always want to be able to say we took every single step we possibly could to keep our kids safe, whether that's training them. Sadly, we have to train them how to react if there's an active shooter situation in the school. But I'm looking at our school buildings, and we all have to recognize this. I think this is a no-brainer as we're driving by these school buildings. They were never, so many of them were never designed with active shooter in mind. They were designed to win architectural awards. They were designed with an open concept. My goodness, they were designed with full-on floor-to-ceiling windows where you could walk down the inner parts of the hall of the school and look in classrooms on both sides. And these aren't classrooms with 20 kids. These are full-on computer labs with dozens of kids. They were designed with very, very small closets where we now require kids to hide in. So you've got 30 kids piling in a band closet, which already has band equipment stored. And they're expecting the kids to just hunker down. So we are not designing schools right now, and that is a huge, huge problem for these schools. Now we're asking them to retroactively go back in and fit the schools with panic buttons and ballistic film, And I mean, school guards are easier because you can bring them in from anywhere. Doesn't mean they're cheap. That's just my view. And how unfortunate is it that we knew about school shootings since Columbine, and yet we continue to cookie cutter these schools all across Utah with these horrible designs for kids' safety.
But again, I don't want to look at it. There's a couple things. You cannot make it bulletproof. You cannot afford, or it's not practical to protect from all the possible scenarios that could happen. There's no way. You say a child's life is priceless, I get it. But there is a practicality here. We cannot account for every single scenario. We can't protect from outside shooters, inside shooters, bombs, cars. There's only so much you can do. So I'm sympathetic to the school districts that are looking at this and say, okay, well, how many more things are you going to require from us? Because all of this money that is going into safety is taking away from other parts of education. And is it such a threat? Is it happening so often that it makes sense to divert all of those funds from teaching, educating, resources, additional help, tutoring, because that's where the money's coming from. It's at the sacrifice of all those other programs. So we need to find a balance and strike a balance and say, we have to accept the fact that we cannot turn these into bulletproof, completely safe campuses. It's impossible. It can't be done. So let's make smart moves forward where it makes sense. And then we're going to have to say at some point, we can't just focus exclusively and spend all of our money on safety.
Yeah, it is expensive. And I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation as we learn more about the ultimate costs and how schools are going to be tackling it, what their deadlines are to get these security protocols in place. It sounds like a heavy lift. I hope they have more than 4 months or 5 months to get these protocols in place and get these schools wired for panic buttons and ballistic film and all those other requirements. Straight ahead, Dave brought this story to my attention this morning. There is a teenager accused at a local high school of breaking into his father's safe, allegedly, and taking a gun to school. Now, I want to make it clear before we go to break that no shots were fired from the gun. But Dave wondered, what does Utah law say about parents' liability in cases like this? Next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories. BYU might have to start looking for a new men's basketball coach. Actually, they do have to start looking. According to reports, Mark Pope is the new head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. That was announced and made official this morning. Pope, of course, won a national championship as a player with the Wildcats in 1996 and recently spoke about his alma mater with the program, The Field of 68 After Dark.
You don't understand. I love Kentucky. Like, in my soul, I love Coach P, and I love Kentucky.
According to CBS Sports, the school has offered Pope that 5-year deal worth $5.5 million before incentives, which would make him one of the highest-paid coaches in all of college basketball. BYU has gone on their social media, their athletic social media, and wished him well. The possibility of the Arizona Coyotes NHL hockey team moving to Utah next season is looking more realistic every day. But now we're hearing from Coyotes head coach on what he calls a distraction. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has that story.
Put yourself in the shoes of Coach Andre Turney, and you might agree with him that rumors about a move could be very tough for morale. Turney says distractions like these rumors are the name of the game. But he argues a shift like this could make staff members decide between uprooting their families and leaving the team.
Turney says there are still 3 big games this season to focus on, including one against the powerful Edmonton Oilers. Your money at this moment, the market's having another tough go of it. The Dow is down 217 right now, or 0.8%. The S&P, for a while there, had a loss of over 1%. It's now 0.9, down 46. And the NASDAQ is down 1 full percentage point. It's off 173. Couple of beautiful days coming your way today and tomorrow. Nothing but sunshine. We'll take a closer look at the forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
So many of us who have tried to lose weight in the past, I've certainly done this, have tried to do it on my own, and I've been hesitant to join a program. Number one, because I didn't want to pay the money. Well, Salt Lake City Fat Loss has a program that has helped me enormously. I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. I've kept it off for over 3 weeks. But you may ask, well, how expensive is it? Is it worth it? I will tell you, from my own experience, paying for the program kept me honest. Like, there was no way I was going to cheat every single day and eat that box of Oreo cookies if I was paying to lose weight. So it held me accountable, and I love that. They helped me lose weight safely and naturally with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, without surgery, injections, no point counting, no exercising, no prepackaged meals. I learned some skills, and they kept me honest, and I had some incredible results. Now, results always vary, but give them a call. Get a free consultation. Go to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. You can Google that, or slcfatloss.com. That's the website. It's slcfatloss.com.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have, because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the earlier crashes we had northbound I-15 in Draper and also on 5400 South in Taylorsville have cleared. All the lanes are open. There's no delays, but the traffic lights are still not working properly on 24th Street in Ogden, right at I-15. The police are gone, but since the lights are not working, you now need to treat that intersection as a four-way stop, and that causes a little bit of backup from time to time. Box Elder County has gone to the birds. Spring migration is here at Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. See what visitors are chirping about with Box Elder County. For info, activities, and more, visit boxeldercounty.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but it's going to be a hot day here in Salt Lake City. Highs are going to get into the upper 70s, 79 the official forecast. Winds are going to pick up, and that will keep things warm again tomorrow at 76. Clouds start to move in on Sunday, and temperatures will begin to cool. Midweek next week, we'll be back in the 50s. But we're warmer than that right now. Downtown, it is 62 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I think this next topic is too heavy for the little ones. So, little ears warning. If you want to listen to this later, Mom and Dad, you can certainly podcast us on your favorite podcast platform. So, give you a second here to turn down the radio because we're going to talk about guns in schools. And I don't want to scare kids. So, for the second time in 2 days, we found out here at KSL about a couple of teenagers who are accused of breaking into their parents' gun safe and taking guns to school.
Yeah, 2 different school districts, nowhere near each other. But yeah, in the last 2 days, 2 specific instances where it's being reported that kids grabbed a gun from their parents' safe, broke into it, cracked it, whatever it was, and then they took it to school.
So let's start with KSL 5 Television's Lindsay Ertz. She talked to a school resource officer in Lehigh who said that one student had planned his own suicide at school. Oh, just thankfully a student alerted the vice principal, and they intervened with the student and got the student some help. We also found out about how the student got a hold of the gun, allegedly.
The boy got the weapon by stealing the key to his family's safe.
They only had a key to it, so it wasn't like a keypad. It wasn't necessarily the secure safe, in my opinion.
And then yesterday, KSL reported that a 15-year-old at Roy High School brought a loaded gun to school, and they found it in his waistband, according to reports. The student said he retrieved the weapon from his father's locker without his parents' knowledge.
Yeah, and the police department, Roy City, put out a press release and made it clear the juvenile was taken into custody, no shots were fired, and that he had brought it for his own protection. So clearly there was something going on there where he was scared, but certainly doesn't make it right under the eyes of the law. But you wanted to know, you had a very important question about this that you wanted to ask KSL legal analyst Greg Skorda. So let's bring Greg on. Hi, Greg.
Good morning.
Greg, I couldn't help but have my mind, and perhaps this is part of the recency bias of thinking about, okay, here's young kids, teens, middle teens, and they basically break into their parents' gun safe, and they take it, bring it to school. Are the parents held liable in any way, or could they be held liable? And again, the reason my mind goes there is because just this week, the parents of Ethan Crumbly were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison when their son, the 15-year-old Ethan, murdered 4 of his classmates, wounded 7 more. But the parents, and I want to play a little bit from the victim's impact statement from this case as the Crumblies were being sentenced, and listen to how the victim's parents, those that had died, how they viewed the parents' responsibility.
Not only did your son kill my daughter, but you both did as well. You failed as parents. The punishment that you face will never be enough. It will never bring her back. It will never be a loss that you have suffered, and it will never heal the pain. Your Honor, I request that the maximum sentence be enforced, as it will never come close to the life sentence I was given.
Greg, can you give us an idea of what happens, what kind of responsibility do parents have if their child takes the gun and uses it?
Yeah, and that was tragic to listen to that. That Ethan Crumbly case was really, as far as we know, one of the first in the nation where a parent has been held criminally responsible for the conduct of a child in these mass shootings. And what we have to look at is the law, and every state has different laws. And in that particular state, I think it was Michigan.
It was.
The parents were convicted of involuntary manslaughter. We don't have that exact statute in Utah, but we have manslaughter. And what we say is this: murder is obviously held a step aside for the people that are the most serious, the most culpable, those that intend to kill. But even if you didn't intend, if your conduct was reckless, for example, you left a gun out, you knew your child had a gun, and that person kills, you can still be criminally responsible. And that's exactly what happened there. And you can bet, Dave and Debbie, that other states are going to follow that lead. And the next time a kid goes to a school and hurts somebody, they're going to start looking at the culpability of the parents, what steps they took to prevent it from occurring, what steps they took to make sure that their guns were secure and locked and unavailable to their children, and not just saying, well, stuff happens and my kid got my gun and, that's really tragic, but I'm not at fault. That's not going to fly anymore.
Is it legally required here in Utah to lock up your weapon?
It is not, and in part because we want people to be able to defend themselves and have access to a weapon. Now, having said that, it is important that people have, and not legally required, that people have safes, that they have gun locks, that they have the various things that can prevent these things from occurring, especially if you have children in the house. Because really, mass shootings aside, which are horrible, most of the people that are killed by guns, especially children, are just those that are in the house and playing with a gun or finding dad's or mom's gun or something like that. And so you would think parents would be ultra careful to make sure that the kid can't get the gun just to protect the kid, him or herself.
Well, Greg, and I want to point out that it appears in both of the situations that we've had happen locally this week where kids have been found, according to police, to have guns at schools, two different circumstances here in Utah, that from what we know, the facts that we have thus far, in both cases, the police have said that the guns were locked up and that the parents, the kids have said that they got either the keys or the safe information, somehow and opened the safe. So in my initial reading of both of these cases, it looks like the parents have taken the steps to lock up their guns.
Yeah, but you have to look, Debbie, at what's reasonable. And so, I have a gun safe at my house too, but my wife can't access it because she doesn't know where the combination is.
Yeah, we had the same situation in our home, Greg. I didn't know the code. Even if I did, I don't know how I would.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to say, well, okay, I've got a child in the house. I've got a gun safe. What's reasonable? To leave the keys out. The one case, I heard the officer, you guys played the tape. It was just a gun safe with a key, and the kid found the key.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know that that's going to protect the parent.
Okay.
I just don't know that that's enough.
Okay. I suppose it depends on the circumstance. Every case is different.
Yep.
Greg Skordas,
absolutely
incredible job this week here at KSL News Radio and all of your coverage of the Daybell trial, your hosting of KSL at Night last night, and then joining us first thing this morning.
I think what's going to be very difficult is, as Greg was describing this, how can somebody be responsible when they're not breaking any law? There's no law here in Utah that says you have to lock up your weapon, and negligence, quite honestly, is almost in the eye of the beholder here. So this Crumbly case, I think, opens up a lot of questions that we're going to have to address here in the state.
Next, this is a story we tried to get to yesterday, but we had so much breaking news all morning long that we had to put it off to today. Authorities offering a reward, $10,000 reward, after a bald eagle was found shot through its wing in southern Utah. It had to be euthanized. Division of Wildlife Resources joining us live next on what's legal and not legal. And I can tell you, this ain't legal. All right? Huge fines attached to stuff like this if you're caught. That's why they're offering a big $10,000 reward for information leading to a conviction.
It's finally Friday.
Waste another year. Don't go back to Rockville. Don't go back to Rockville. Don't go back to Rockville.
with Dave and Dujanovic.
And waste another year.
Josh loves springtime in Utah, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
We have a cedar-sided home at the edge of the woods, painted like 1980s beige, and we wanted something that was more of a mid-century and modern look. We were driving around and we saw a sign in somebody's yard and said Rhino Shield. It's not paint.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology is formulated for our unique climate here in Utah and is Class 1 fire rated.
Gave Rhino Shield a call, and in fact, they were fantastic with the arrangement on schedule. The 25-year guarantee was important to us. This is our forever home, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is going to last a long time.
Utah, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
I'd say if you're thinking about Rhino Shield, just do it. It's been 2 years now, and it still looks like the day it went on.
This offer is limited, so call 435-246-4466, 435-246-4466, or rhinoshieldwest.com.
Go Rhino Shield.
Sign up for KSL text alerts and you could win cash. Text the word cash to 57500 for a chance to win $250. That's cash to 57500. Plus, you'll get breaking news and traffic updates right to your phone. Want to win more prizes? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking Utah Jazz news. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply. For an alternate entry method and complete contest rules, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Are you ready to start your journey as a small business owner? Ready to start something bold? Something groundbreaking? Utah is the startup capital of the world, and we're setting a new global standard for innovation and entrepreneurship. So if you're thinking about starting a new business or looking to grow an existing business, this is where you'll find the resources to make it happen. Visit startup.utah.gov today and start something here.
Devotion to country, service to Utah. Brent Orrin Hatch had a front row seat, watching his father serve our state faithfully in the Senate. A constitutional conservative and lifelong Republican, Brent Orrin Hatch is a champion for the rule of law. He's running for Senate to stop this lawless president from destroying our country from within. Hatch will fight to secure the border once and for all and take on Mexican drug cartels to halt the flow of deadly fentanyl. Brent Orrin Hatch knows the national debt is just as big a threat to national security. Hatch won't rest until the budget's balanced and won't cave to the big spenders in both parties. Pro-life, deeply committed to religious liberty, rock-solid Utah conservative. Brent Orrin Hatch for Senate. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.copac.us.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
You're going to love the teamwork we have with KSL News Radio and KSL Television. You can get the 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter. Get the top news of the day straight to your email by subscribing to KSL's 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter. All you have to do is text the word inbox to 57500.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, BYU basketball head coach Mark Pope is leaving for his alma mater, the University of Kentucky. Second, the Jazz snapped a 13-game losing streak last night, meaning they finished the season with a winning record at home. And third, the House of Representatives will vote to renew the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which allows U.S. intelligence agencies to spy on the communications of foreign nationals without a warrant. We're going to look for a high today of 79 degrees and right now 62 in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Turns out if you shoot a bald eagle, and probably other birds, and they don't know who did it, they're going to put a $10,000 tag on you for tips leading to your arrest and conviction. That's law enforcement. The other avenue is in court, you could be slapped with a $100,000 fine and spend a good chunk of time in prison.
It is incredible the things you can't do to a bald eagle. Like, obviously, you can't kill a bald eagle. You can't chase it, can't shoot it, poison it, wound it, kill it, capture it, trap it, collect it, and it even says molest it or disturb it.
So torture it.
Or even play around with
all
it.
Those
Like I
things
said,
you listed are like torturing a bird.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredibly comprehensive list.
Well, they're protected, right? The Bald and Golden Eagles Protection Act enacted almost 85 years ago. So, ignorance of an 85-year-old law is no excuse. This is, so basically right now we've got this $10,000 reward in this case of whodunit to a bald eagle that had to be euthanized after it was shot in the wing. This is all kinds of horrible. It sounds like it happened in the Iron County area, Captain.
That's correct. It did, yes.
Thanks for joining us. Sorry we had to put your interview on hold. Yesterday was a wild day here at Broadcast House. Captain Chad Bettridge, law enforcement officer with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. When did this happen, and how was this poor eagle discovered?
So it happened just about a week ago, and there was an individual who was kind of driving down a road just northwest of Cedar City and noticed this bird just off the road out in the West Desert. And the bird was alive at that time. The individual went over, thought that the bird had been electrocuted, because that does happen. The eagles land on power lines, and they're so big that they're able to stretch out their wings and hit lines and get electrocuted. So that was what his assumption was. He picked it up and took it to a rehabber in Cedar, and the rehabber said it had not been electrocuted, and they contacted the Division of Wildlife Law Enforcement, and that's how we got involved.
So what had happened to it?
So initially, the rehabber looked at it, and they were worried that it had been shot by a shotgun. So, and at that time, the bird was beyond saving, so they did have to euthanize the bird. And so the rehabber euthanized the bird. And then the law enforcement officer showed up, and they x-rayed the bird and didn't see any shrapnel or any type of shotgun pellet or anything like that. So the officer took the bird and processed the carcass and did find a bullet hole in the wing. And it was we're not 100% sure what type of rifle it was used, but it appeared to be a bit of a larger calibered rifle that was used to shoot at this bird.
So it feels very, very intentional then.
Yeah. I don't know of at least based on the circumstances that we have right now, it feels that it was done on purpose. I don't know how you could accidentally shoot an eagle with a large powered rifle, but I guess there's a possibility of that happen. But for the most part right now, that's kind of how we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, especially if it's just in the wing, that makes me think that it was probably flying, because if it's on the ground or on a perch, then you can't just hit the wing. The wings are tucked right next to the body.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that sometimes birds of prey engorge themselves with food, and they sit on the ground and to digest it, and maybe stretch their wings out or something like that. So it's possible, but that's the circumstances are such that we don't have an incredible amount of information on what actually happened, which is why we're seeking the public to see if anybody else might know.
Yeah. Well, $10,000 reward has been announced for information that leads to a conviction. Do you have any leads? And if you catch the person, how much, can we throw the book at them?
So within the Division of Wildlife, we have a parameter. I mean, we have rewards available, but that $10,000 is announced outside of the Division of Wildlife,
I saw that.
which is great.
Yeah,
which is
totally.
great. It's just
another organization stepped up because they love bald eagles. Okay, that's awesome.
For sure. And if we can find who did this and we send them to court and they're convicted, they could be convicted of a felony. It would cost them lots of court fines, lots of restitution on the eagle itself, things like that. So it is a serious crime. It's as serious as you get in the Division of Wildlife as far as taking something intentionally. So yeah, we're looking into it as hard as we can. Leads right now, I I spoke to the officer a few days ago. He said he's talked to a couple people, but we're still looking for more information.
Captain Chad Betteridge, thank you for joining us from law enforcement with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources.
Does that satisfy the questions that you had about fines and why they do this?
Yeah, I think I have some larger questions of why such a harsh punishment. I get that is the law because of the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act. I wonder if it's not too harsh for shooting a bird. $100,000 fine, a year in prison. It feels excessive.
Straight ahead, let's talk about Lunchables. There's a report out that now Consumer Reports wants those quad tray film covered circles of meat, square cheese, and cookies and crackers banned from school lunch lines. They don't want schools to serve them anymore. You're going to find out why. Next, see if you agree.
KSL Salt Lake City. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. It's official. BYU men's basketball coach Mark Pope is leaving the Cougars to become the next head coach at Kentucky. Pope won a national championship with the Wildcats as a player in 1996. Recently told the program, The Field of 68 After Dark, his thoughts on his alma mater.
And I would love to play Kentucky because I want to beat them. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I love them like crazy. I love them in my soul.
CBS Sports is reporting the school offered Pope a 5-year deal worth $5.5 million, and that would make him one of the highest-paid coaches in the nation. He spent the last 5 seasons with BYU, took the Cougars to the NCAA tournament twice. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The House of Representatives set to vote today on reauthorizing FISA, the federal law that allows the government to listen in on conversations of foreign nationals without a warrant. A group of conservatives wants to add an amendment that would require a warrant when it turns out the data gathered does include Americans. Most Republicans, though, oppose that amendment. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day now, 310 points already. The NASDAQ is down 183 points. And our KSL weather, we're going to see the warmest day of 2024 so far. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
The sun is out and the temps are up. It's time to seize the day and hit the road. You were born to ride. And now's the time to make your dreams a reality. Imagine the wind in your hair as you cruise on your very own power scooter. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical, and these scooters aren't just for getting around. They're your ticket to freedom. With speeds up to 6 miles per hour, you'll own the road like never before. From graduation to concerts and vacations, our power scooters will get you there in style and ease. Don't wait another minute. The time to ride is now. Let's start your adventure today. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here, representing Utah's priorities in Congress and providing top-notch constituent services at the heart of everything Team Moore does. We've had great success helping Utahns with expedited passports, visa processing, veterans benefits, immigration petitions, retirement issues, tax returns, and much more. If you need help navigating a federal agency, including the IRS, Social Security, the VA, Immigration Services, or Medicare, please give my office a call at 801-625-0107. That's 801-625-0107. We're also happy to help coordinate U.S. Capitol tours, take your comments, and provide legislative updates anytime. I also want to invite you to sign up for my weekly e-newsletter. We are soon entering what is called the political blackout period leading up to the primary election, meaning my office cannot reach out with updates and announcements unless you are subscribed to our communications. So sign up today at blakemore.house.gov. It's our honor to serve you and your family in Congress. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
We don't have any delays anywhere across the Wasatch Front on major freeways, including I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. I-80 through Parley's Canyon also at good speed. We still have traffic lights malfunctioning at the intersection of 24th Street and Ogden, right at I-15. You have to treat that as a four-way stop. S&S Roofing is your trusted source for quality and affordability. They've been the top roofing company in Utah for over 40 years. Schedule an estimate now. Get a free quote at snsroofinginc.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, we're looking at sunshine today with a high close to 78 degrees. It'll be warm again into the weekend, but next week things cool off with a chance of rain. And right now, 66 degrees, partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The movie show is a Friday tradition, and it still is. Make sure you're listening for the new KSL movie show after Dave and Dujanovic. We have our favorite movies and a few stinkers. 11 this morning on KSL News Radio.
It's finally Friday, and this is Dave and Dujanovic. Conversation and insights on the stories Utahns care about most. It's Friday on KSL News Radio.
I'm so excited to talk about this.
Antsy.
I am stepping all over the big voice, guys. Sorry there. Should Lunchables be banned from school lunch? You know, I saw this week that Consumer Reports says some schools serve these. What are they? Those are like the 4x4 plastic box, film covered quad containers with those round processed meats and square cheeses and cookies and crackers in them. And Consumer Reports tested them, Dave, and says what they found is enough for them to call on the federal government to keep them out of our kids' lunch lines at school.
Okay, so many things going on here. Number one, I love Lunchables.
You do?
I do. I'm way too old to be eating Lunchables, but I can pound a Lunchable, no question. It is also funny to me that they found that they were unhealthy, or that, here's a big surprise, but Oscar Mayer actually changed the recipe to make them more healthy so that they would qualify to be served at school lunch.
Oh, I've never associated healthy with Lunchable. I just associate it with mom's in a hurry. Mom's going to get Bad Mom of the Year award. She doesn't care right now. Calories in. Eat your Lunchable. And usually my kids would devour them when I did, when I put them in front of them. So, but Consumer Reports is like, hold on a minute. We are going to go out, buy Lunchables, and then we're going to take them to a lab. And we are going to put them through the ringer to see exactly how unhealthy they are. And I will admit there's some things that came out in this Consumer Reports lab analysis of Lunchables. Okay, as a mom, it would concern me. But it's too late for my kids because I'm like, what am I going to do about it now? Because I'm pretty sure in their 20s, unlike Dave, they're over the Lunchable phase. They've already ingested all of this stuff. But let's listen. Consumer Reports put a really succinct video and audio report together about what they found. Let's listen to it, and then we'll debate it.
Consumer Reports tested 12 store-bought Lunchables and similar lunch kits, and we found relatively high doses of lead, cadmium, or both in all of them. And most also had phthalates, which is a chemical used to make plastic that have been linked to a host of health problems. 2 Lunchables manufactured by Kraft Heinz, similar to the ones we tested, are eligible to be served to children through the National School Lunch Program. That's nearly 30 million children that may be served lunch kits that have these contaminants and very high sodium levels. We think our kids deserve better choices, and these Lunchable kits should be removed from the school lunch program. Toxic heavy metals like lead and cadmium put kids at risk for developmental issues. While the amount of lead and cadmium in the Lunchables did not exceed the legal limit, the risk of these problems increases with regular consumption over time. We even compare the 2 Lunchable kits that are in the National School Lunch Program to a McDonald's Happy Meal that's consisted of chicken nuggets, french fries, and apple slices. And the Lunchables served in schools contain more sodium than the Happy Meal. Eating too much sodium can lead to high blood pressure. Lastly, all but one of the store-bought kits tested positive for phthalates, which are chemicals found in plastic. These known hormone disruptors can contribute to an increased risk of reproductive problems, diabetes, and certain cancers. While some manufacturers told CR that sodium enhances taste and convenience, others like Kraft Heinz and Maple Leaf Foods are actively working to reduce sodium levels in their products.
Wow. Right? I mean, I don't know what Lunchables did to wrong this guy, but he just went after Lunchables in the worst, hardest way. How terrible of a parent do you feel right now?
So what's your reaction to all of that?
Well, first of all, I get it. I understand Lunchables are not healthy. Like, that is not health food. I totally get it. I did my own little research, though. He compared it to the Happy Meal. I compared it to the McDonald's 2 cheeseburger and fries meal.
That your son eats?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, okay, so it's
and
more
if you
realistic
think,
for you.
Yeah, it's more realistic. You want to talk about sodium? The Lunchable has 700 milligrams of sodium, which is about 30% of your daily allowance. Like, that one Lunchable, that's 30%. If my kid gets the 2 cheeseburger and fry meal, it's 75% of their daily allowance in sodium. It's more than 1,000 milligrams more. My point is, there's lots of unhealthy stuff out there that we shove in our kids' faces. Why are we picking on the Lunchable? Like, that's the place where we're drawing the line. Like, heaven forbid we give a kid something they will actually eat in school.
Well, I didn't like the whatever's leaching from the plastic. I was like, how I appreciate, watchdog groups. I do appreciate them going out and making sure there's not something really, 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 really super horrible going on. But that whole story we just listened to gave me bad mom syndrome, because I'm thinking, I didn't need my kid's school to serve them Lunchables. I did plenty of that. I mean, who doesn't do that kind of stuff in a pinch? I don't like the whatever's going on with the cadmium and all the others, like lead. Lead's always kind of been a scary thing for kids, in my view. That's why we, when we moved into a house in the 70s or built in the 70s, these are what like real estate disclosures are all about, right? There's the disclose if there's known lead, because we know that lead can harm a child's brain development. So now, they also say it's not at a level that is past the standard. So that did make me feel a lot better. But how am I going to know any of this? How am I going to know any of this when I walk down the grocery store? I buy my kid a Lunchable. And what Consumers Report is asking is that the USDA pull these Lunchables from the school lunch line. Well, I got news for you. They're getting them at home. And also, I can pack a Lunchable with my, and I did many, many times. I mean, come on, it's not being lazy. It's just like you're just trying to fumble through parenting. So you grab a Lunchable off the grocery store shelf. But there's so much stuff that kids won't eat at school. My feeling about this is if kids are eating Lunchables, I'm so glad they're getting some calories in. Now, it's not a lot. It's like 350 calories, which surprised me. But you pointed out earlier, so much stuff that's served at the lunch line at schools ends up in the trash can. If they're eating the Lunchables, well, then that's good.
My wife has worked in an elementary school for years, has spent a lot of time in the lunchroom. She said you would see kids with an entire full plate of food, healthy food. Thank you, Michelle Obama. That was one of her big things, is getting healthy food in schools. They would take the entire tray and dump it so they can get to recess.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't love healthy food. That's a big shocker, parents. I don't know if I'm breaking news here or anything, but they do not like healthy food. And if mom and dad aren't over their shoulder looking at them, you can't trust them to eat all of the healthy options that are out there. This individual at Consumer Report says our kids need to have better choices. They absolutely do have better choices. And they choose the unhealthiest option available because that's what they want to eat. And I think it's a major, major problem to go in there and just start removing all of these food, these calories. They may be empty calories, but they are calories nonetheless. They burn, they give energy, they help kids' brains work, whatever the calories are. And I think if you're removing those, you're doing these kids a disservice, and you're just starving kids.
Let's ask our listeners to call in. We know we got lots of parents who listen. We know lots of parents have opinions about school lunch. So do you want Lunchables banned from school lunch? 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Let's pick on Lunchables next.
It's Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
Been yours for so long. Come right back to it. I let my mind run wild. I don't know why I do it, but you just settle in like a song. We know it.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items like the self-leveling green laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect pass-through socket set for $49.98, which you can only find at Lowe's. Shop Klein tools in-store and online today, because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Snow and rain to start the month.
Exciting news as high pressure takes over.
And near 80 degrees this weekend.
That will send some of that snow water down the mountains, 40% more of it than we've seen over the last 30 years.
Rely on KSL to forecast what's coming and what happens next.
We have you covered
on KSL News Radio.
It's the movie show, guys. The movie show will be live today from My Hearing Centers, and we're here right now with Melissa Lowry from Sound Sleep Medical because it's the same office. But, Melissa, there's nothing much that's more important to me who works a 3 a.m. get-up schedule than getting sleep. And not just, enough. I'll probably never get enough, but getting the right kind of sleep. And so we've got a great deal today for people who are struggling to get the right kind of sleep.
It is a great deal. They should call now during the show. The number is 801-716-8672. What we're offering today is a free sleep consultation, which means you get to come in and speak with one of our sleep specialists. If you need it, we're also offering free sleep testing. This is a kit of equipment you'll actually do at home in your own bed. So it's very...
I did that, actually, just a few weeks ago.
It's
very
convenient.
simple.
Yeah, very convenient, very simple, but really informative. Gives us all sorts of information on heart rate, oxygen, how many times you stop breathing, how long does it last. So that's also free. And then by calling in, you will automatically be entered into a drawing for our Better Sleep gift basket, which includes a purple pillow, minky blanket, and a $50 Amazon gift card.
That's a lot of good stuff. But the best thing that would come out of all of this is if you're not getting the right kind of sleep, if you are stopping breathing at night, you have a way to fix that, because these things are tied to so many different health problems, and we'll talk about those over the course of the show today. But getting it fixed is the most important thing. Finding out if you need to get it fixed, and then getting it fixed. And you guys have a different way that's not a CPAP machine, which is what most people think of when they try to fix sleep apnea.
Right, and CPAPs work great if you can leave it on your face, but that's the problem right there. The success rate is not high with the CPAP just because they're difficult for so many people. At Sound Sleep Medical, we do an oral appliance. It's like a custom-made mouth guard, like bleach trays. You just wear them on your teeth during the night, and they'll replace the CPAP essentially by stabilizing your lower jaw to keep your airway open, oxygen levels stay up, and apnea goes away.
So call 801-716-8672 to make that free appointment at Sound Sleep Medical.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show, and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. 4 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Ford Truck Country. All dedicated to delivering you the best auto experience anywhere. Looking for your first car? Maybe you want rugged power or the stylish ride of your dreams. New or used. See it all at PerformanceBountiful.com. PerformanceBountiful.com.
Hey, did you know about the 3 Things You Need to Know newsletter? That's right. It is a collaboration between KSL News Radio and KSL 5 TV. I get this to my inbox every single day, all the top stories of the day, all 3 of them, the 3 things you need to know, broken down into very, very snackable stories that are easy to read. So all you need to do to get the newsletter to your inbox is text the word inbox to 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, BYU basketball coach Mark Pope is leaving for Kentucky. Second, so far, only 1 prosecution witness has testified in the Chad Daybell murder trial. And third, the FBI and other federal agencies are warning that allowing the FISA law to expire would be a national security risk. Right now, 66 degrees in Salt Lake and back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Consumer Reports is asking the federal government to ban Lunchables from the school lunch line. The federal government does allow, and schools do serve, Lunchables. We're all familiar with them. If you're a parent, you know what a Lunchable is. I think they were invented just for my kiddos. So I served them when my kids were growing up because they were easy breezy. And they were pretty inexpensive. Sometimes you could get them for $1.25. Lot probably costs a lot more now.
No, they still cost $1.25 if you get them on a deal.
So should we be banning them from the school lunch line?
Absolutely not. First of all, they do serve Lunchables here in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they had to manipulate and change the ingredients a little bit. That's what Kraft Heinz did. Is they had to make it a little bit more healthy to reach the standards where they could be served in Utah schools. And they are being served in Utah schools. But absolutely, we should let kids eat Lunchables if they want.
But Consumer Reports says there's some stuff found in them when they did the testing, including high levels of sodium that concerned them. And we know sodium can be bad for us, right? I mean, the government our doctors have warned us for years, stop eating so much sodium. It's linked to some health problems like increased blood pressure, maybe create some problems with your heart as well. Not saying that happens when you're
12,
a little one, but, I think good eating habits are something that is good to start early on. But I'll tell you, Lunchables, pizza, hamburgers, I fed it all to my kids. I tried to make dinner every single night. Even though I was working full-time, we had dinner every single night, and we usually packed a school lunch every single day. And yes, I made them breakfast every single morning. But sometimes you got to go this lazy route. Am I wrong? I think I'm right. 801-575-TALK. Should Lunchables be banned from school lunch?
I think I've seen, and my wife has worked in the school cafeteria several years, and she saw kids take perfectly healthy, well-balanced meals and throw them directly in the garbage without taking a single bite. Debbie, not taking a single bite. So we're putting a lot of pressure on our schools to feed our kids healthy stuff, and the kids still have the freedom to reject and throw it away. All I care about is if a kid has some calories in them. I hardly care how they get it, whether it's a candy bar, an ice cream sandwich, or a Lunchable. Kids need to have some calories because they are just going nonstop. And if they're not eating the healthy food, then they will eat no food.
You're going to pass out when I tell you what my school lunch was all through high school. Hi, Carrie. You're calling from Provo. Good morning. What do you think? Should Lunchables be banned from school lunches?
Hi, yes. Well, I work at a high school in Provo, and I am responsible for our school food pantry, which I started this year.
Oh, congrats.
Because so many students were coming in to the counseling office because they were hungry.
Oh.
And we had fruit snacks and granola bars to offer them. And I'm a big nutrition nut. I wanted them to get protein. Protein will last longer. And I use the opportunity to help train them when they need a snack. So now my food pantry has single-serve peanut butter, peanuts, hummus, snacks similar to Lunchables where you peel it open and there's nuts, cubes of cheese, and some salami. I would love for whoever did this study to follow a high school student around and pick up all their wrappers and see what sodium they're intaking, because I cannot get a single student to take any of that. They all still want fruit snacks and granola bars.
Oh, my goodness. What a fantastic
awesome,
description.
Carrie.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because that is what happens. Even when you have these great options, kids will go for the junk food, or they won't eat at all. And we've seen it over and over and over again. And I think the downside is when kids are hungry, they can't focus, they can't concentrate, they're disruptive.
Can we look up and see how much protein Lunchables have? Because even though that meat is processed, and it is obviously, it looks to me like they use a cookie cutter to cut out that little round circle, but it has cheese and and meat. And so there's probably some protein in that. Janelle from Morgan, what do you think about the idea of kicking Lunchables to the curb?
I definitely think they should be kicked to the curb in schools. I think the schools have more responsibility to provide healthy options, and I don't think that the kids will starve if they don't get Lunchables. So I definitely think that we're the adults and have the responsibility of providing healthier options. And truthfully, the kids are going to choose what they're used to eating. So it definitely needs to start in the home with choosing more healthy options, but we really have to, look at the health epidemic of all these health problems in our society. And, I think the schools have to take responsibility. We can't just offer junk because that's what kids like.
Janelle, thank you so much. Agree. We do need to make sure we're doing the best we can in the home. But I always look at it, too. It's like sometimes at school, that might be the only meal a child is getting. Because of their circumstances at home. I know schools are doing a great job sending home brown bag lunches and dinners with students, and that's awesome. But I think it's difficult because we know that kids learn when their bellies and their brains are full of nutrients, and if sometimes that nutrient is a Lunchable, I would rather have them have that than throw a salad away.
You asked about the protein. 11 grams of protein in a Lunchable.
Well, it's not.
It's not great.
It's not off the charts.
It's not
off the charts.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
They probably need to put another, 7 more layers of processed turkey in there, and then maybe they can double that. Trish from Kaysville, what do you think?
Hi. I definitely agree with both of you. I don't think it's a good idea to ban Lunchables. I don't think it's a really good idea to ban much of anything just because it just adds more problems most of the time. But I also think that, like your last caller said, it does begin at home. If we are focused on helping our kids get the nutrition they need at home, I think we can be less concerned about what they are having for lunch outside of the home. Because if, it's kind of a basic principle here, do it if you can. And we really can't stress out too much about the stuff that we don't have control over.
Thank you, Trish. You would absolutely fall over if you knew that every single day at high school, my go-to was a Twix bar. Yeah, they'd invented Twix by then. A small fry and a Dr. Pepper. Every single day. Oh. We did not have open campus. We were not allowed to leave. I know it's horrible, right?
No, you're not alone, Deb. No judgment.
I do want to add this, Dave, and I want to. I wish we had more time to talk about this. But here's where I changed my view before I had kids. I want to go back to the early 1990s, and I was a reporter at Channel 4 News here in Salt Lake City, and they sent me out the door to do a story on childhood obesity, and I lined up an interview with a pediatrician, a local pediatrician in the Salt Lake Valley area, and I went to interview him, and he said, "You will never hear me say that fast food, or this is probably before Lunchables were invented, are horrible for children, because what you have to understand is I see so many children, when we're fully aware of many, many children, that in their homes, that is the only meal that they are going to get all day. And when burritos are 2 for $1 and tacos are 4 for $1 and McDonald's is selling hamburgers for $1 or there's a Lunchable for $1.25, that's the only meal that child will get all day long. It is about getting food in our kids' stomachs, getting calories into them. So that was my wake-up call, and that was long before I ever became a mom. It changed my point of view on pizza day every Friday at school.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour: BYU basketball coach Mark Pope will be moving to the University of Kentucky. Pope played for the Wildcats in 1996 when they won the national championship. He coached the Cougars for 5 years and took them to the NCAA tournament twice. CBS Sports reports Kentucky offered Pope a 5-year deal worth $5.5 million. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: a group that represents pharmacists says it's seeing the highest number of drugs in short supply since it started tracking this issue more than 20 years ago. Details from ABC's Eva Pilgrim.
Diabetes drugs, some antibiotics, cancer treatments, ADHD, and injectable medications among those that are hard to find. About 1 in 3 hospitals reporting they've had to skip, delay, or use less medication due to supply gaps.
The group lists more than 320 medications in short supply across the country. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now 408 points on the day. The NASDAQ is down 237. And our KSL weather, sunshine, warm temperatures today, but won't last. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Imagine this. You're at home, at work, or at school, and you hear a low rumble. Things are falling and breaking. You feel scared and confused. What do? How do you protect yourself and your loved ones? Earthquakes are a real and serious threat in Utah. According to the Utah Geological Survey, there's a 57% chance of a magnitude 6.0 or greater earthquake occurring in the Wasatch Front region in the next 50 years. That's why we invite you to join the world's largest earthquake drill, the Great Utah Shakeout, on April 18th, and practice the proven and recommended protective action: drop, cover, and hold on. Register at shakeout.org/Utah and be counted with over 1 million people in Utah who will drop, cover, and hold on at 10:15 a.m. on April 18th. The Great Utah Shakeout is for everyone and is an initiative of the Utah Division of Emergency Management. Find excellent resources to plan your drill and to prepare for an earthquake at shakeout.org/Utah.
It's the movie show, guys. It's Sound Sleep Medical, one of 7 locations. We're at the Sandy location at 90th South 7th East, but they have locations in Ogden, Layton, Salt Lake, Murray, Sandy, where we are, as well as American Fork and Provo. And Melissa Lowry from Sound Sleep, do we have one any further south? We got one down in St. George now yet?
We've got St. George.
We've got St. George, too.
Yep.
Now, I took a nap yesterday, and I didn't correct my sleep apnea. And I woke up with tightness in the chest. And I can tell the difference, but only because I've fixed the sleep apnea for most of the times. Now, I had that tightness all the time before I got my apnea corrected, and I didn't know it because it was normal. That's one of the things that I'm hoping that listeners will hear today, is that you might be used to things that you shouldn't be used to when you're asleep.
Right. There are a ton of people out there that don't remember what it feels like to wake up and actually feel rested. They think dragging through their day, being tired all the time is normal, and it's really not. You don't have to feel that way. Correct your sleep apnea. Not only will you feel better now, but you're protecting your future health down the road. You will be healthier longer, age better if you treat your sleep apnea. And here we do it in a really simple way.
Well, you got to find out if you have sleep apnea, which you might not, but if you do, here's a way to find out for free if you've got it, and a chance to get a sleep consultation after you have that test.
Right. If you're 40 and over and you've never done a sleep test, you're behind schedule. We do things for our health, just screenings like mammograms, colonoscopies, things like that. Sleep screening should be on your list, and we do that for free at Sound Sleep Medical. Bring it in. We'll download it. You'll sit down with one of our sleep consults or sleep specialists for a consultation, give you the results. All of that is free today. I mean, you can't miss out on this offer. It's great.
I'll be honest, I had to go to the doctor. I was trying to get it through my doctor's office. They took so long. I just came here and had it done for free. Got my results right after.
Right. And we'll do it that quick, that easy. It's at home in your own bed, your own pillow. You don't have to worry about spending thousands of dollars or having people watch you sleep in a place you're not familiar with. It's a great way to do it. So, take advantage.
So call 801-716-8672 right now to get that sleep appointment set up with Sound Sleep Medical.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We do have a little bit of slowing on southbound I-15. Right as you pass the I-215 South interchange, head towards 7200 South. We may have a crash in that area. Haven't seen it on camera yet, but something's definitely bringing traffic nearly to a halt in the area. The good news is the rest of your commute anywhere across the Wasatch Front or the Wasatch Back is traveling at speed. Lagoon is looking for ride maintenance technicians. Lagoon offers excellent mechanical training programs with amazing career opportunities. Ride maintenance technician position is a full-time and year-round. Details visit lagoonpark.com/jobs. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
And a KSL weather. We've got sunshine today with a high of 78 degrees, 76 tomorrow, but it'll cool off toward the beginning of next week with another chance for rain. And right now, 70 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Do you care about climate change? How about we just talk about something nobody cares about? We already know that,
with the three things you need to know.
Research shows that a lot of voters do not put climate change on top of their list. However, President Joe Biden has made climate change and addressing it a key point in his presidency. And it has so scooped up Dave, it has so mesmerized my co-host that he ran out and said, Biden, this one's for you. And he bought himself a $20,000 electric vehicle that he now toodles around in.
First of all, it's $16,597.
But you got
Stop rounding up,
Did you get
Deb.
a rebate? Was that with the rebate or after?
No, I'm going to get a rebate on this as well if I ever
you,
do my
Biden.
taxes.
Thank you, Biden. Dave says thank you.
I think the reason people don't prioritize climate change, or the voters don't really care about climate change, is because there is no tangible reward. I drive an electric vehicle, like you said. My family powers their homes with solar. I can't point to one tangible difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not breathing better air. I'm not feeling less warm. I'm not feeling any difference. So when I don't see any return, any direct return, then I just don't care. And I think there's a lot of voters that are with me.
But you're considered probably a more seasoned voter. Let's put it that way, a veteran voter.
Old voter.
The Wall Street Journal did a poll. 3% of young voters, only 3% of young voters call climate change their top issue. I would have expected them, because they are going to inherit the earth, to be a little more all in on this. But maybe this is just one of those, to your point, Dave, that people have a hard time wrapping their heads and their arms around and understanding how it's going to impact them. And Adoba, anchor for Weekend Edition of Morning in America on News Nation. Hey, thanks for calling us, and it's good to talk to you.
Hey, guys. It's so nice to hear your voices. I just want to add to what David said. I'm picking up my brand new Tesla in 2 hours. My house is also powered by solar. And I think you're absolutely right, Dave. I think there's just nothing tangible we see. As for the Tesla, I don't even think it's the most attractive car out there. I like other cars better, but I'm trying to do better, what's better for the planet, or what I'm told. Yeah. And I'm not sure how to see it, and I think that's what a lot of voters are seeing. You mentioned that Wall Street Journal poll. This was surprising to me. We've been covering these kind of stories for a very, very long time. I did expect the younger demographic, that's 18 to 25, 18 to 35, to list it as one of their top concerns, maybe even their top 3 concerns. For them, across the board, and this is 18 to 55, the concern is the economy. It's not the climate.
And that was so shocking to me that this wasn't the top thing, because we talk about it so often. It's in the headlines all the time, but it seems like the economy has just trumped everything for everybody.
And arguably, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, or if you're independent, you can say that President Joe Biden has done so much to at least talk about climate change. You and I were talking about these incentives that we're getting for solar power, whether it comes to our house or our cars. We spoke about the Wall Street Journal. They asked voters in 7 swing states. So that's a lot of people. 2 to 3%. That's it. depending on age, said climate's important. Harvard actually also interviewed a group of people. I mean, this is obviously 18 to 22. 39% said they trust the president's handling of the climate. So we've been talking on the show a lot whether Biden has had messaging problems when it comes to certain issues. Climate, I think, is going to be one of those things that's so hard to tackle because a lot of people don't seem to care about it, or they just don't know enough about it to make it a focal point when they're voting in November.
Yeah, and I think you hit on something. We don't know enough about it because we're not all scientists. You know, we don't understand. I know scientists take this very seriously. I was listening to a New York Times podcast the other day where they're shooting things into the clouds to cool the temperature just a little bit as an experiment. I mean, they're trying to come up with all kinds of ways because this climate change debate and the issue that's facing us is not working and on a lot of people to do something about it. So they're trying to come up with ways to fix it through science. So I know they're all in on it. I think it's just a topic that's really hard to relate to unless you are like borderline genius. That's just my take.
Or maybe even personally affected because, you know, there's so many parts of the world that are dealing with natural disasters that we haven't seen. And many scientists say it is due to climate change, but also a lot of people don't believe that. So when it comes to this, there's just messaging problems all around.
And when you mention those messaging problems, I think in part what has hurt the Biden administration is a lot of the green initiatives they have pushed forward were wrapped into what they call the Inflation Reduction Act, which nobody's going to attach to green.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a $1 trillion project with a T that gives credits and grants and loans. A lot of people don't know about it. With that said, the Biden administration also approved a few fossil fuel projects. Not too many, but there's one in West Virginia that a lot of people are upset about. And that's also for those people who do want to protect the climate, who are keeping an eye on it, are not thrilled with his handling with that as well. But a lot of people in the administration say, listen, we need to keep both sides happy. He might need to appease to those people that are behind fossil fuels just to get reelected again.
Anna Doba, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to your reports and your anchoring this weekend. You anchor the weekend edition of Morning in America on News Nation. So thank you for joining us.
Straight ahead, Steve and Andy standing by live. Of course, a movie show every Friday from 11 to 1 right here on KSL News Radio. They'll be talking about the big movies of the week, what they love, what they didn't like, and also... Here's the question of the week. What movie have you seen more than 10 times? I mean, I don't make the threshold a little higher, guys, because I've seen this movie that I'm going to talk about at least 20 times. I mean, I may have seen it 50 times. Next.
Finally, Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
Would love for you to stay around. I hope you haven't changed your mind. I know I act like I don't care about you, but I would have loved for you to stay around.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
It's the movie show, guys. We're broadcasting our show today live from Sound Sleep Medical. Right now we're with Melissa Lowry from Sound Sleep. And Melissa, we've talked about how important it is to get the right kind of sleep at night, and that you might have something called sleep apnea, which is you're not breathing enough. Your body stops breathing. You're not getting the oxygen around. Now, Sound Sleep can't fix somebody who goes to bed at midnight and gets up at 3 a.m. That's not something you can fix. But what you can do is for those 3 hours, make them get the best possible amount of oxygen that their body can take in.
Right. So you might think, well, how do I know if I have sleep apnea? Some common red flags are snoring, daytime fatigue, if you're tired all the time, or if you sometimes wake up with a morning headache. Those are red flags, easy ones to know that you probably should be tested. Testing with us is super easy. I mean, you'll take a kit home and use it in your own bed, your own pillow. What it will comprise of is a strap around your chest with a little monitor on your sternum, a pulse oximeter on your finger for oxygen and heart rate, and then a cannula for your nose to measure breathing.
And it's really easy to put that on. You showed me. I went home hours later, just a few steps, it was on, and then a little bit of tape to hold it in place because you're going to sleep on it. And then I didn't have any issues with it the whole entire night.
Right, and that's all you have to do is put it on when you go to bed. Take it off when you wake up. We'll have it programmed for you and bring it back to us the next day or two. We'll get it downloaded. Sit with one of our sleep specialists. We'll give you those results all for free.
And all for free. So the number to call to make that free appointment, 801-716-8672. Let me tell you, until you had a good night's sleep, and Steve, you can attest to this, until you get the right kind of sleep, you don't realize how much of a difference it makes.
It was like somebody had flipped a switch. I woke up like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. I had no idea, and it's been forever, and that was amazing.
So calling in, you'll automatically get the free test, the free sleep consultation, but also today we're entering you into a drawing for our Better Sleep gift basket, which includes a purple pillow, a minky blanket, and a $50 Amazon gift card.
So call this number now, 801-716-8672 for Sound Sleep Medical.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of health care. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you could tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
Experience a different tomorrow with Norwegian Cruise Line. Book today and get 50% off your cruise to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
Get ready for spring with the Greenhouse Show and advanced window products. Affordable windows sold direct to the public at 3052 South, 460 West from 8 to 11. The Greenhouse Show this Saturday.
79 missionaries trapped and penniless inside Germany borders with war days away. From director T.C. Christensen comes Escape from Germany in theaters now. Tickets at escapefromgermany.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the University of Kentucky has a new head basketball coach. It means Mark Pope is leaving BYU. Second, pharmacists say there are hundreds of drugs in short supply across the country. Third, police arrested a student who was carrying a gun at Roy High School. Right now, 70 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
So Andy and Steve getting ready for the movie show. It starts in just a few minutes. They're going to be joined by film director T.C. Christensen, whose new movie, Escape from Germany, just opened last night.
We have been informed by our church president that in 3 days the German army will invade Poland.
There's so many things I love about this. Number one, for the first time maybe in history, Andy and Steve, I saw a movie before you. I've seen this show. I was invited to the premiere. Are you jealous? A little jealous. I don't know where these guys are.
Radio silence.
Are they around?
No, we're here.
Okay, there you go. You guys.
We were just going to say, did the flash bulbs go off when you got out of the limo, Dave?
Let's just
At
say the
premiere?
red carpet did not focus on me. It was mostly on TC.
Well, that's probably all right. But what did you think of it?
I loved it. Oh, it was great. It was so. But I'm also super biased because TC is my buddy. He taught me pickleball, and he will always be my guy.
Oh, there
so,
you go.
Yeah, we're good friends.
So the premise of the movie is it's set in just before World War II, right?
Yes, in the month before Germany invades Poland.
And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints able to evacuate. Is it missionaries?
Well, they sent the order out that they needed to get all the missionaries out of Germany, but 1939, they didn't have text lines. They couldn't. There were telegrams used, exactly, but the missionaries aren't exactly around a place where they can get a message. They didn't know to be looking for it. So the mission president gets the assignment that we need somebody to go round up the ones who aren't in the main city that we can get a hold of quickly. And so this one elder gets the assignment, and he heads off with nothing but hopefully God to guide him to whoever to get him out.
The brilliance was when they started whistling a church hymn.
Yes.
And
I thought that was a really and that's a real thing. So the part of the fun is that this is based on real people. Part of the thing that I found interesting is we've had people reach out to KSL. We got an email. I had a friend comment on a Facebook article like, "This is my uncle, my dad, my grandfather was one of those missionaries," and they're so excited to have a chance. And TC told me, I did an extended interview with him that's on our movie show Digital Extra, where he said, there's a lot of relatives of people that are actually in the movie.
Yeah, the extras. They invited them,
that's so awesome.
and they came to be the extras in the movie. And they were at the premiere. And it was so emotional. It was really neat, again, because this is a true story. This goes back, to World War II, and it was a great movie. I loved it.
The only question I have, the one scene where they steal a train, I want to know if that really happened.
That's all I care about, Andy.
Well,
Steve,
we're going
I
to
love
ask TC that when he comes on the show at 11:20.
A little artistic liberty, maybe?
You even have
exactly. I thought, wait a minute, this is Indiana Jones. What happened here?
So you even have a time slot for him at 11:20.
11:20.
So if you have to step away, run in, get your hamburger for lunch, and get back to your car by 11:20, you're going to hear from T.C. Christensen, the director of Escape from Germany. And then your question of the week is one of my favorite questions of the week you two brainiacs have come up with. What's a movie you've seen more than 10 times? I'm not even going to make you guess what mine is. I think I've seen this at least, probably 25 times.
You're going the wrong way!
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
We're going the wrong way! Oh, he's drunk! How would he know where we're going? Yeah, how would he know? Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Woo! Thank you.
Thank you.
You're on the wrong side of the road.
Debbie, did you watch the Steve Martin documentary that's on Apple TV Plus?
No, because I don't have Apple TV Plus.
I was just telling her about it. Oh,
yeah,
my
he
goodness.
says it's worth
let's
a watch.
do a telethon. There's like $15 a month. Come on, Deb.
Okay, I'll do it.
Just do it for 1 month.
I'll do it. Yeah, I absolutely love those two. The reason I love that movie so much is because no matter where you're at with your headspace in life, you are bound to laugh your way through that movie. It never disappoints. I can watch it 25 more times and I'd still laugh as hard as I did the first time.
It's so good.
Now,
John Candy's so
we
good.
said bonus points if it's not a franchise movie, but I'm also seeing from our comments on our Facebook page that a lot of people are listing Christmas movies, which makes perfect sense because that's something you watch every single year. So we'll say bonus points if it's not a holiday movie. You can certainly list those. That's totally fine.
Throw them out too. Huh?
Well, right, but I'm curious to see what are the movies that I maybe wouldn't have thought somebody watched 100 times or 20 or 10 times in this case. Because for me, I know I've seen Star Wars well over 10 times.
Oh yeah,
all of the Star Wars movies. I know that I've seen Dumb and Dumber way over 10 times.
Oh, I might
Happy
have seen
Gilmore.
that many, yeah.
That makes me sad.
Well, that's fine, but that's part of the fun. Is I'm curious, what are people's favorite movies? Steve, what about yours?
Well, mine is Castaway with Tom Hanks because I was stuck in the Sierras once for a whole weekend. I thought I was going to die, and just to see how he was able to survive on that island blows me away.
Well, Steve, now I wish we had time to learn that story. That's fantastic.
We watched Castaway, my wife and I, in the delivery room while we were waiting for her in labor with our oldest son.
So you have
So
some
that's
good-
what I
you have
remember about
fond
Castaway,
memories.
and that one time was enough for me.
Yeah, you have fond memories of that moment. She probably does not. I'm just saying. Dave, what's yours?
Can I give you guys a deep cut? Because
please,
that's
part of the fun of
Here
this.
he goes.
This
movie
one,
nobody's ever heard of.
the most underrated movie I've ever seen, by far, Warrior.
Oh, is that with Mel
You're-
Gibson?
No, no. This is Tom Hardy, Joel
Hardy. Oh, this is a
Edgerton,
boxing movie.
Nick
Edgerton.
Nolte, UFC, mixed martial arts.
And you've seen it more than 10 times already.
And I've probably seen it 10 times this year. I have loved this show. It's
I love
No wonder you
this
never
movie.
see any other movies, Dave.
Whoa. Steve, did you say you love this movie too?
I love this movie. I cried.
Oh.
All right, I'm putting it on my list.
Absolutely cried my eyes out.
I know you guys also have the big movie of the week coming up. Was Civil War?
Yes.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
so excited about this, boys.
Yeah.
So excited.
We'll let you keep everything under wraps until 11 o'clock rolls around. We'll make Dave
No
listen.
hint?
No hint.
No little indication whatsoever. A
We
little
did
wink.
both see it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, in 3 minutes, you're going to spill the tea on Civil War to all of your amazing listeners, your loyal listeners, including your very own Dave Noriega. You guys have a great weekend. Have a great show. We'll all be listening on our drive home and when I'm waiting in line for my Friday hamburger. Thanks so much, Steve and Andy, the movie show guys.
Weekend Update with Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I keeping a close eye on several stories over the weekend, but two that stood out to us that developed this week. Dave, you go first. What's your story of the weekend?
I have got to see what the developments look like with the National Hockey League and seeing if the Arizona Coyotes are going to end up coming to Utah. This is such a moment in time here for Utah. If we can attract another professional sports team downtown, this could be a game changer and open up doors. I think this is absolutely crucial financially. It would be an enormous win. It would be a huge win socially and culturally. This might happen in the next week sometime, so that is what I'm watching very,
You're going to be
very
trolling
closely.
all the social media
yeah.
posts and all of the stories that are coming out of Arizona on the Coyotes' fate.
And I'm not even a hockey guy.
You
I'm
are
not
now.
even a hockey guy.
Welcome to the world of hockey.
I am now.
Yeah, you are and now and you will be. This is a big economic win for Utah. And, I don't mind beating Phoenix, my hometown, at their own game on this one.
How about you? What are you watching for?
I just want to say the win of the week to me is what went on in Panguitch this weekend when public officials, the sheriff's office, and the community raced to save that dam from collapsing because with that large crack in the dam that was happening at Panguitch Lake Dam, and the potential for flooding at least some homes and streets in Panguitch, they managed to relieve some pressure. So the concrete structure that was leaning on that dam ends up tilting back in the right direction. So good win. Story I'll still be keeping an eye on to make sure that, all's well now. It looks like it's going to end well, but we're going to be keeping an eye on the community of Panguitch as well this weekend.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio.